Welcome to Around the ECHL. We record this on Monday night and we give it to you on Tuesday. So happy Tuesday to everyone. Tommy Daniels joined by my broadcast partner of 10 years, Maurice Fitzgerald, and the biggest New York Rangers fan in Wichita, Kansas, the one and only Jason Mouse. What's up, bud?
No, that is not my banner. That is Ed Bailey's banner. All right, don't misinform your listeners.
Well, I all I know is what I see, Mouse, and they say a picture is worth 1,000 words. And you got a bad hockey team in your background, so I just figured I would just throw that in there.
Go Blackhawks! They're even worse.
There you go. Well, welcome, boys, and glad to be playing hockey here in 2021. Hey, you guys have had a pretty good start to the season and big win over Kansas City yesterday. And you got two of your guys, Mcmahon and Gennaro, up there amongst the top in the league in scoring. Talk about where you've been here since we've seen you last.
Yeah, you know, it makes it a lot more fun to go to the office every day when you're competitive. And I think our GM said that earlier this morning. After we played you guys that weekend, the team ended up going up to Kansas City, winning 8-4 in Independence, returning home a tough one on Friday night against Kansas City, lost that game 1-0, even though for 2.5 periods we dominated the game. The shots were 25-12 in the last 40 minutes. Unfortunately, Andrew Shortridge, a guy that you're familiar with, stood on his head. And then Saturday and Sunday, Wichita came out and ended up winning a close one Saturday and then really put it to the Mavericks yesterday. So a good couple of games for the team and getting ready for a big series against you guys.
Well, the team's got a new look this year, not just uniforms, but speed. There's a lot more speed on this team and the moving the puck really, really well. Talk about what changes you've seen in the offseason and during the season so far that have led to that for this Wichita Thunder team.
Well, one guy that I know that Tommy just brought up was Bobby Mcmahon. The part of the reason why him and the other 3 players from the Marlies are here is because Newfoundland is not playing this season. They didn't have a place to put any of their prospects. And because how deep the Toronto system is, our GM reached out to the Marlies, made a deal with Toronto to get some of their prospects here. And all 4 of those guys have been really good for us. McMahon might be one of our most consistent players on the team. Bobby has been really good away from the puck as with the puck on his stick, but he's tied for first in points as a rookie, which you don't see a ton of. I know you guys were familiar with that last year with Tyler Sheehy. So, it's been fun to see him. Jeremy Mckenna is a guy who started to come into his own. He's been really good at dishing the puck off, but he has a couple of power play goals to his own right. And then on the blue line, a guy like Noel Hoffenmeyer, who's been really solid for us. He's made a couple of rookie mistakes here and there, but for the most part, he's been a good addition to that back end. And I think he's starting to learn the pro game and how much different it is than playing in junior. So the 4 players that we got from Toronto really have helped us. And then I know Tommy had mentioned Matteo Gennaro, who is in his 3rd year, signed as a free agent in the offseason. Last year, he was with Tucson and Rapid City, didn't get a ton of playing time last year, and he's already equaled his career totals from 2 years ago. So he's been a great addition for us.
And both your goalies, Mal's, have good numbers. You look at Gillum, who we saw, of course, and was really dominant against us in that big 7-2 win you guys had in Allen on New Year's Eve, 4-2 record, 927 save percentage, and even Wenninger, 2-0 so far this year, 931 save percentage and a 2.27. It helps when you have things that, that come to, that work out at the back end. And that's where it starts, right? You got to have solid goaltending. You got to have a good defenseman. And you guys have been really good this year in net.
Yeah. And you guys are familiar with Evan. Part of the reason because we acquired him from Allen last year. He would have stayed around with us if it wasn't for the Edmonton goaltending that we got last season. Otherwise, we wouldn't have traded him to Greenville and then he went overseas. But he's been a solid pro since he came out of college at the University of Omaha. Mitch Gillum has, I felt, played some of his best hockey since he's been with us. He kind of had an up and down season last year, but part of that, like you mentioned, was, the defense around him. We weren't very good defensively. We gave up way too many shots last year. Our goals against average was near the worst in the league. This year, we're better in a lot of those categories. So defensively overall, I think we're doing a much better job of keeping those second chance opportunities around our netminders from turning into scrums around the net. And hopefully that can continue, but it's going to be a tough series against you guys because, the offensive talent that your team possesses. So we'll see what happens this weekend. But yeah, Mitch and Evan have done a terrific job here in the early going.
Well, you look at the two teams when you make that comparison, like you were saying, it's going to be a tough series this weekend. Allen's got 41 goals for 33 for Wichita. And then you look at the power play percentage for Allen is 15%, percentage for Wichita is 12. And these two teams historically always have a lot of penalties against each other. So those penalty kill units are equal. It's 87%, but power play is going to be a big factor in this series, I think. Don't you?
Yeah, I do. When Wichita came into the series against Allen right before New Year's, we hadn't allowed a power play goal, and now we've allowed one in 4 straight games. So, the team has taken way too many minor penalties. I think that's one of the concerns for Bruce Ramsey. Last game, we had 8 penalties we had to kill off, at least 6 or more penalties in 3 straight games. That's just too much time trying to kill off penalties. And that's part of the reason why the shots on net towards the end of the game yesterday were so low for us, is because we're sitting back in our own zone and trying to prevent Kansas City from scoring. So I think, like you mentioned, Mo, it's going to be interesting to see how that unfolds, because the two teams, no matter who's on the roster, don't like each other at all. And it seems to happen every year. So we'll see what happens on Friday night. But I think power plays certainly is going to be important for you guys as well as for us, because, the Thunder over the last couple of games have not been very good on the power play either. If you look at the stats, we scored our first power play goal in 3 games and have not been able to get set up in the offensive zone. This weekend, I think, I don't know if it was because we played 4 games in 6 days or 7 games in 11 days, and maybe they didn't get enough of a chance to work on it, but hopefully they can improve on that as we move along. But yeah, power play is going to be key.
Jason Mal's, voice of the Wichita Thunder, joining us here on the Around the ECHL segment. We do it every Tuesday for you on all the Allen American social sites. We talked about your scoring, your depth earlier, and I want to point out Gennaro, because he coming into the games tomorrow night, he is leading the league in points. He's got less games played in 13 points. So we know Ramsey, right? I mean, that's his MO. He has great offensive teams. That was the same story when he was in Tulsa. Now, fans are used, if you're Wichita Thunder fans, are used to that rugged style of hockey, right? Mo mentioned earlier about your speed. What are fans saying about this year's version, the 2021 version of the Wichita Thunder?
Well, it's funny you asked that, because coming into the weekend, we hadn't won a home game, and fans were, I don't want to say revolting, but they were really concerned why we couldn't win a home game, even though we only played 2 home games coming into Friday night's game. So, they were really excited about the way the team has played away from home, but at home until that game on Saturday night, there was cause for concern of why they're not coming out with more energy. I think the fans are excited about some of the players on the back end. We're more improved defensively. Who knows if Matteo Gennaro is going to be able to play this weekend, because he got nicked up in the game on Friday night. He missed Saturday and Sunday. So Jacob Graves, Vinny Desharnais, those two have really solidified our back end. And I think fans are really excited about some of the youth that we have on this team compared to what we've had in the past. So that's some of the things to look out for. But yeah, the road has been a bugaboo for us for so many years. And for us to start out 4-0 on the road, I think is quite a surprise. And hopefully we can continue that.
Well, the fans just need to be patient, because this is a really impressive team. I'm really love seeing what I saw from the Thunder on New Year's Eve. Didn't like obviously the finish, because it was 7-2 win for you guys, but I really loved the new look of the team, the speed, the quick moving of the puck, the great defensive play, good goaltending. Everything was a really, really solid effort. And I thought that was fantastic, because that's just going to elevate the rivalry between the two clubs. But when it comes to the American League starting and everything else, how do you think that's going to shake up the team, maybe with guys moving on up to the American League?
I think there's a little bit of concern, with that, Maurice. We've got a couple of guys on our team that could possibly go up to Bakersfield. Vincent Desharnais is actually an American Hockey League contract with the Bakersfield Condors. He signed an ECHL deal because he didn't want to sit around. Bakersfield has a ton of guys that are overseas right now, and they're a little bit thin in their system. They sent a bunch of guys over to Europe while some of those leagues started, and we were waiting to see what was going to go on with the American Hockey League and our league. So that's a cause for concern. I think a guy like Patrick Parkkinen could possibly get a call up there. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but he was our leading scorer last year. Now he's been out with an injury and hasn't been in the lineup. So in regards to the 4 kids that we got from the Toronto Marlies, excuse me, the system is so deep that I've been told that they could be here all season, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. All 4 of those guys, I think are, in my opinion, too good for the ECHL at their age. I'm not saying that they shouldn't be down here, but it's, a good place for them to start their careers. But I think all 4 of them have a good opportunity at some point to be with the Marlies in maybe a season or 2.
Sorry, I had to wait for my clock to quit chiming there. Sorry about that, boys. Last thing for you, Mals. And you know what? The NHL season starts here tomorrow night, Wednesday night. And, I know we're all excited about that. What are your concerns about with the big show? Because last year when they finished the playoffs, they were in a bubble, and they were in a real, true bubble. We've already heard of reports of some cases. Dallas, the team here locally, starting essentially a week late because of, COVID situations. Do you think they're going to have a tough time? Because, we travel on buses 90% of the time, most of the teams in this league, but, they're flying around here and there and in airports, and, it's hard to avoid. Do you think they're going to have a successful start, or do you think they're in trouble?
I think it could be a mix of both. It depends on some of the behaviors by some of these players. And are they going to go out into the community? Are they going to stay away from restaurants and bars? And, for our league, I think because of the youth, that certainly is cause for concern, because you get guys that are leaving home or leaving a billet situation, and they're somewhat on their own for the first time in their adult life. So they want to go out and kind of live it up. I don't know exactly the situation in the locker room, because you and I both know that, we haven't been able to be closer to the team like we normally are. So I don't know if, they're paying attention to the rules, or they're going out and doing things they shouldn't be doing, which hopefully, knock on wood, they are. I think there is going to be a little bit of concern, but at the same time, the NFL did a really nice job this year. I mean, they got every game in, and they were able to test it and keep players away from each other. So who knows? I mean, the vaccine is out. I'm not saying that that's going to prevent the spread, but hopefully we can get back to some level of normalcy, and some of these buildings will be allowed to open with fans. But like you said, it's exciting to get hockey back. The NHL is the best in the world. We love watching it. And I know you're excited about your Buffalo Sabres. So what is that?
My celebration. We're pretty mild-mannered here tonight, Mals. Hey, thanks for doing this. Always good to catch up with you, especially on the week when we're playing you guys. I know we're going to be seeing each other a whole lot this year. Thank you very much. We will see you on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And this has been Around the ECHL with Jason Mals, the voice of the Wichita Thunder.